Court dismisses application by the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Halimadu Sharif, seeking to halt appeal filed by the Ahmed McAfee faction of the party. The budget 2017 is still under scrutiny as lawyer Femi Falana asks acting president not to assent to it. Says the National Assembly's increase of the budget figures is illegal. That's our focus of the program. Thank you for joining in, everyone. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Emana Amawe. Remember, you can follow the conversation on Twitter at CTV Politics. You can also watch us live on Facebook. Moving on now to the matter of the 2017 budget. It's still under the spotlight. It's just waiting assent by the acting president. It was finally sent to him by the National Assembly last week. But a lawyer, Mr. Femi Falana, says the National Assembly is increasing the budget by 143 billion is illegal, and that instead of Nigerians wasting their time trying to find out who it is that will assent to the budget, whether it be the president or the acting president, that budget should be submitted to more scrutiny. He says, and he said so at an event in Kwara State, he says, and I quote, instead of dissipating energy over the competence of an appropriation bill signed into law by the acting president, Nigerians should subject the 2017 budget to scrutiny. We are therefore calling on the acting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who is a professor of law, not to endorse and sign the illegal appropriation bill of 2017 into law. Well, his position has come under contention as some other lawyers disagree with him, citing Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution, which they say gives the National Assembly the power to tinker with the budget. Well, one of those people who does not support the position of Mr. Femi Falana is Ikechukwu Ikeji. He's a lawyer. He's right here with me in the studio. And we're talking about tinkering with the budget by National Assembly and also some other matters arising.
Thank you so
Welcome
much.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So you totally disagree with the position of
absolutely. And it's,
Femi Falana?
Absolutely.
Why so?
It's so easy. The budget is called, as it is now, an appropriation bill. In passing it, it becomes an appropriation act. In other words, it is a law. And the Constitution gives squarely the power to make laws to the National Assembly under Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. If it is a law, then who makes the law? Simply put, it is the National Assembly. By the combined reading of Section 4, Section 59, take note of that, Section 59, Section 80 and Section 81. It will be very clear to everybody, every discerning mind, that the National Assembly has powers to do anything it wants to do on a particular bill before it and pass them into law. Now, let's create this analogy. Let's take, for example, NDDC bill or NDDC Act. The federal government wants to amend or enact or put forward a new act, a new law known as NDDC Act or NDDC bill. It brings the bill to the National Assembly. If the National Assembly is dissatisfied with a particular section or a particular clause in that bill, the National Assembly has powers to remove that section or amend that section or the clause and put the section or the clause or the wordings that they think or deem fit that should be there. And when they do that, it becomes what the Constitution has given them the power to do. Now, under Section 59...
Just a moment, yeah. Mr. Ikeji. They have the powers to do so, which includes adding 143 billion to the national budget and increasing the National Assembly budget by 10 billion.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't the executive being involved or being carried along before these figures were altered?
That's a different question. It's a different question.
Yes, that is what I'm asking.
Carrying them along is a different question. Yes, they ought to be carried along. We have a
So would you say they carry the executive along in this case?
That is left for them.
Because the figures were altered.
That is left for them. That is left for them there as part of their internal machinery. But to say whether the National Assembly has power to so do, it's a different thing.
Okay, so in a situation where the executive is not carried along before the figures are altered, what should be the
Section
right
59 operates. It's not a question of wrong or good or bad, or moral or immoral. It's a question of what the Constitution says. Section 59 says that if the National Assembly passes a bill, it sends it to the president, in this case the acting president. The acting president or the president has 30 days within which to assent to the bill or withhold assent. And if he or she fails to so assent or to so withhold assent, the National Assembly can, in a joint sitting, pass that same bill into an act, into a law, by a two-thirds majority. In other words, the National Assembly can simply say, okay, we ignore whether you assent or you withhold assent after 30 days, and we make it into law. And that is why there is need for a synergy, not necessarily an agreement between the two bodies, the executive and the legislature, because it's always good for each of them to check the other one. Where one does not check the other one, we have absolute power, we have tyranny. So it's always good that the National Assembly, the legislature, checks the executive, and the executive in turn also checks the National Assembly. So in so doing, it's good that both of them come together, decide, judge, go forth, come back, and agree on specific areas where they think can move this nation forward. But where there is a disagreement, the party, one out of them that will have the upper hand is the National Assembly.
Okay.
As far as lawmaking is concerned, execution and implementation is another thing.
Okay, on a broader perspective now, since 1999, there seems to have been one problem or the other plaguing the budget, the presentation, the passage, and even up to implementation. Where therein lies the problem? You know, with is it that our budget processing has a problem deeply rooted in it?
No, I don't think it's about the problem. Perhaps you could say it's laziness on the part of either the executives in preparing the budget under Section 80 and Section 81, or on the other hand, also laziness on the part of the National Assembly. But I wouldn't rush to say it's laziness. I would say that they are being cautious. They are being deliberate in their actions, both the executive and the National Assembly. Ordinarily, it is best that the budget is passed December, the year before the operating year, or January of the year, or February at most. But nevertheless, there's no law that has been breached, because the Constitution, under Section 82, even permits the budget of the previous year to be used up until 6 months into the new year, or before, when the appropriation bill or act comes into effect, whichever one is first.